Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Beck's here today to give my TBR for an event that I have been looking forward to for a number of months now, and that is NonFiction November. This will be my third year participating, and I always get really excited because I love reading nonfiction. It's my favorite book genre to read, and NonFiction November really celebrates that. Even if you're somebody that doesn't read nonfiction that often, it's a way to get you excited about it and just try and read a little bit more than you normally do. So if you're somebody that rarely reads nonfiction, just pick up one nonfiction book in NonFiction November and you have participated. If you're someone like me who reads a lot of it throughout the year, you probably look forward to doing the challenges that Olive over at Book Olive sets out. She is the host for this year's NonFiction November. I will link Olive's original announcement video down below where she also goes into a bit more detail about the different challenges or prompts that you can do if you want to do. You certainly don't have to, but I enjoy doing that because I read nonfiction so much already, it adds another layer of challenge. So there are 4 prompts this year, but they can be interpreted in many different ways, as is usually the case with the prompts for this, because it is a readathon, but it's also not. It's, as Olive puts it, it's an initiative just to get people to read more nonfiction. So you don't have to treat it exactly like trying to take on as many books as you possibly can. It's more about just read what you want to read as long as it's nonfiction. All of these prompts can be interpreted in a number of different ways, and that's traditionally been the case, but this year even more so because each of the prompts have kind of 2 words or even 3 words that fit together somehow. So the first one is pastime/pastime, and the book I chose for that is We Are as Gods, Back to the Land in the 1970s on the Quest for a New America by Kate DeLawes. So I went with past time as in something that has already happened, because this happened in the 1970s, and it does focus on a group of people who set up a community in Vermont, and they want to live off the land as much as possible. And as far as I understand, the author's parents were part of that community, so that's where she's probably going to get a lot of her information from. This is one of the 8 books that I wanted to read in 2018, and since November is just around the corner, I don't have much more time to get it conquered, but it also felt like the perfect book to try and read for NonFiction November. The second prompt is self/shelf, which is really hard to say. And for that, I decided to go with shelf, and I chose Hope, Adventures of a Diamond by Marian Fowler. This book has become a running joke to only me, really, because it's been on my bookcase for so long, and I definitely had it on my list of potential reads for NonFiction November last year. So this year I've done a lot less books, and I am going to try and read this book. It is happening this year. Whether or not I finish it is a whole nother story, but at least I can figure out whether or not I should even be keeping this book on my shelf anymore. This one is about the Hope Diamond, the story, the mystery behind it all, and should be intriguing. I'm going to learn a lot from this, so hopefully I'll enjoy it after all of this time. The third prompt is wander/wonder, and for that I chose On Trails and Exploration by Robert Moore. This book is about Robert, who decides to go wandering down the Appalachian Trail. In other words, he decides to hike it, and that gets him wondering about trails in our universe, not just physical trails that people walk, but interstate highways, things to do with animals, and then also things that we can't see, like technological stuff. And so this is going to, I think, expand on not only the Appalachian Trail, but look at a bunch of different things, all having to do with trails. It is an exploration after all. The final prompt is micro/macro, and for that I chose Behind the Beautiful Forevers, Life, Death, and Hope in a Mumbai Undercity by Catherine Boo. This one is about the people living in the slum community of Anawadi, and they live near the Mumbai airport, and it follows those people, their aspirations, hopes, dreams, what their lives are currently like. So it's definitely a micro viewpoint, but then we also have the macro viewpoint of India as a whole and the world as a whole and where, you know, the world is headed. So it sounds like this is the perfect prompt for this book. It just fits so nicely. This one's been on my shelf for a while and it sounds like it's going to be a pretty emotional read, so I hope I'm going to like it. It hasn't been on there as long as Hope, Adventures of a Diamond has, but it's been on there for a bit. Finally, I do have an extra book so that if for some reason I manage to read all 4 of these books, it is possible, depends on how well they grab my interest. I did include Bill Bryson's The Lost Continent, Travels in Small Town America. This would work for the wonder prompt because he goes on a road trip through the US. There might even be elements of like micro and macro in there. And Bill Bryson, very famous author. I've read a number of his works. This one's been on my shelf for a while. This is a book that I hate the cover of. It has this ugly brown spine. So I actually picked this out for the Book Riot Read Harder challenge for read a book with a cover you hate. I chose this one, so I thought, okay, I'll throw this one in my nonfiction pile, so if I do read the other ones, I can try read this one and then I'll knock out a couple different things. This one seems like it'd be a pretty easy read, so despite the not so great cover, the content is probably going to be excellent. So it's just Bill Bryson traveling around, visiting different small towns, and I actually opened up the book when I was trying to figure out what I was going to read, and the page I opened it to was a page about Vermont. So I was like, all right, that's the sign. It's time to put this in the pile. And those are the 4 books that I will hopefully be reading for NonFiction November, with one extra one thrown in if I do have time. If you guys are participating, let me know down below and I'll go check out your videos, or you can just share what books you're hoping to read. I always love hearing about different nonfiction books that people are enjoying. As always, all of our links are down in the doobly-doo, so you can go check those out if you feel so inclined. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you later.